Ortwein.
Here.
Jean Howard.
Here. There's a couple of things that need to be added to the agenda. Rob included a request for an expenditure. Bob needs to bring us up to speed on some issue at the daycare center.
Yep.
And then we do have a public hearing. There's no need for the public hearing, but just to keep the record straight, we will call it order and put it in the minutes.
So where are you going to put these, rather than Bob at the beginning and public hearing?
Public hearing, well, no, public hearing first, just to
Get out of the way.
and then Rob right there with the request for the training reimbursement.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, consent agenda, which are the minutes from the October 8th meeting, the treasurer's report, and bills. Are there any bills?
Maybe bring them all down.
I've got a change already. Where it says, where I'm talking, it's Croton Cemetery, not Oak Grove.
Yes. Others are extended to those groups. Oh, you got it?
You have to do it.
No, that's all right.
I have one.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Sorry.
Roll call vote, please.
Debbie Wade. Yes. Chris Hadley.
Yes.
Wendy Franklin.
Yes.
Jean Howard.
Yes. Is there any correspondence?
Yes, we have one. This is from Chris Ortwein. There's a trustee here, and he couldn't be with us tonight. I am sorry I will not be able to attend our last meeting together. My dear friend Robin Faulkner's father recently passed away, and I will be visiting with Robin and her family and paying my respects to her dad. I would like to comment on some of the agenda and ask that this email be read in tonight's meeting and be part of the minutes of record. The request for reimbursement of expenses from the firefighter should stay with the chief's decision. Any circumventing of the chief's decision will only undermine the chief's authority within the fire department. I agree with the amended changes in the zoning ordinance as recommended by the planning commission. The county road commission wants a board motion approving a plan to improve and maintain the corner of Elm and Croton before they will deed the property over to us. If you make a motion tonight, I would recommend that you have language in the motion that talks about improving the old roadway to a path connecting Conklin Park and the library and Croton Commercial District. That the hilltop will eventually be a viewing and picnic area, and that the back side of the property by the old school would eventually be a wooden park for sledding hills, with the sledding hills, and all of this will be maintained with township funds. I disagree with any decision regarding the survey. I will state again what I said before. This was not authorized by the township board and should not be recognized as a township project. Lastly, again, I am sorry I could not attend this meeting. I wish you all well and look forward to working with the new board and representing all of you as county commissioner. Chris Ortwein.
Any other correspondence? No. Okay. Any petitions? Then we'll go to department reports. John asked me to speak for him. He said the rate increase has gone very smoothly. He's only had 2 people that complained. Everybody else has been very good with it. He said he thinks having a month to get people used to the idea really helped. Fire department.
For month of October, we had 8 fire calls, 1 power line down, 1 unattended fire, 1 outdoor wood stove on fire. and 5 assists, 1 to Howard City and 4 to Big Prairie on structure fires. 1 motor vehicle accident, 10 medical calls, total of 19. Our Halloween open house went really good. We had, I'm just guessing, probably 200 kids come through, plus parents. So we had bags for the little kids. We gave out 100 and I think 110 or 120 of those, so ran out. So that went really well. So that's all I got right
Maintenance?
Well, this has probably been a really busy month. It always is in November and October. We had mechanical breakdowns. I had to put a hydraulic pump in the backhoe. A few other things broke down. Anyway, we got the campground winterized. I ended up renting an air compressor and it just blew walls in the dust. It was such a good compressor. It used to be it only go right down to 0. Now it stayed at 70 pounds. It blew the lines out really good. And 2 burials at the cemeteries. I don't know if at the last meeting it was discussed that the trees have been removed at Oak Grove and Croton Cemeteries. The guys that did that did a great job, and I hope that we look at them again for doing trees again, because man, that's really nice. Our cleanup, we got 1 week left probably. Oak Grove Cemetery's guys are done, the campground's done, Conkle Park's done, St. Mary's, Croton. And so we've got probably 1 week left there. And I went to our, Gene and me, our what's called CERTS, which is a Community Emergency Response Team, which means, I don't know exactly, but we're trained in search and rescue, like firefighting, and a few other things. And I see John Pressler just signed on too, so there's at least 3 or 4 of us now in the township that belong to that, which is kind of a neat little thing that you can use. Like you can get in, we're lucky we didn't get sent to New York, is what I'm saying. We're qualified all over the country. And then the last thing is that soil pipe at the school, which you want me to bring it up right now or when?
Well, we kind of put it later in the agenda.
Okay.
So you
Let's
can
do
hold
that.
on.
Okay, that's it for me then right now.
Thank you, Bob. Building and zoning?
Building department has been very good this last month. Zoning, I've issued 3 tickets. I had 1 court appearance, and I had 2 more coming up this month, or this month. And I've issued 3 warning letters, and 1 of them have already cleaned up the mess, so we're pretty well set. So that's it.
Thanks. Library?
For Halloween, we had around 200 kids. We passed out treat bags too, and we usually plan on around 200 kids. So, we went through them, and then it was kind of stopped around 7:30, and then 1 kid came around like 7:59, and I had 1 bag left. So, yeah, that's what always happens. This month, our Books to Movies series, we're featuring Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert. We had our book discussion Friday on that book, and we're showing the movie on November 30th. It's a Friday at 4 o'clock. So we're hoping to get a bigger turnout. Hopefully this program will spark some interest with some people. Upcoming programs, we have our gingerbread house decorating the first Saturday, December 1st, from 10 to 11. Each year, we notice our numbers increase. Last year, we had between 30 and 35 kids come. So we're shooting for 40 this year. And it's a messy, good time. It's crazy busy, but it's awesome. So kids of all ages can come. So if you're 7 or 77, that's fine. And then we're also having our dollar book sale from Thanksgiving to New Year's. We have just had so many donations, and we can barely keep up with them. So we're hoping to have some Christmas shoppers in. So,
Thank you. Chris, on your treasurer's report, you have disbursements to the library of $11,331.22. What is that?
We can't tell you right off the top of my head, but I think that has to do with that payroll Yes, you can. I think it was the payroll reimbursement, wasn't it?
I don't know.
That was 12,000 on base.
Yeah, but then we reimbursed you for some of that too.
3,000 something.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll have to look at it. I didn't dissect what that number was.
I'm sure people
Give
might
me
wonder
one.
what we've been spending the money on.
Yeah, okay,
Okay, I'll give you a call.
yeah.
Did I miss anyone? Okay. Before we get into the agenda, I would like to introduce Deputy Ferrick. Did I say it right? Ferrick. Welcome. Did you want to say anything?
Other than how to pronounce your name?
I've been assigned to Croton Township. I'll be here to answer any questions, hear any comments, and any concerns you guys might have.
Okay. Does anybody have any concerns or comments or questions?
Yeah, I do have concerns. There's so much speeding right now, it's unbelievable.
Whereas,
Between the way going to Croton and right through Croton, there's people going across this causeway 60 miles an hour.
I will pass that along to our secondary road patrol officer too, and we'll try to see if we can step up patrols out there.
All right, beginning of the agenda, I'd like to have a motion to open a public hearing.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? Public hearing was to be a truth and taxation hearing, so that if the request for a millage for the postal unit had passed, we would have had to scurry to get this all through the county in the proper, using the proper steps and the proper timeframe. But it did not pass, so it does kind of become a moot point, but just to make sure that it was in the record. Any comment on that part? Okay. Then motion to close.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? There's been a request for a training reimbursement. I think the typical reimbursement was $800, even though the training itself cost $1,005. So, now, we've been asked to address this as a board, so.
Open meeting, close meeting.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. And then I would like to make a motion to reimburse Dave Middow $800 for training.
I will second that to get the discussion started.
Okay, discussion.
I'll open discussion.
Okay.
I've had a chance to talk to Cloud, and the whole mess before we had it, and we got, Joe was paid, 2 other firefighters were paid. And I feel, because Rob had told him no before he took the class, and he was already MFR, that I really don't feel we should pay him.
Did you have a chance to read these letters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that,
Because Dave's story contradicts what Rob says about the discussion before the class was taken. I have some concerns with this, that we don't have a written policy. And without a written policy, I think we leave ourselves open for some labor dispute.
well, we had decided as a board, when we had problems before, was we were going to let the chief, and we were going to go through the chain of commands as it's written. You know, that's, you go to the chief, don't like what the chief says, or you go to, and then you go to the deputy chief, and it's, you know, like that. Then the deputy chief brings it to the board, not the fire department. So I think the chain of command has been broke, and it's just gonna be bad. But I really don't think he should be paid, because he knew from the start that he wasn't gonna get paid. So then I brought up the fact that there was another firefighter that is taking the same class and Rob wanted to pay him. He's not MFR, and Rob's only gonna pay the MFR part of it, not the articulation
Yeah.
part of it, which would be the EMT part of it. That I understand, because then the MFR part, we use that on our fire department. We don't use the EMT.
Mhm.
Right. So because Dave is already MFR, he had had the conversation with Rob before he took the class, before he paid for the class, and Rob had told him no. I feel because we've already paid him once for the MFR part.
But that
Well, we didn't
holds,
pay him, we paid for the class for him to take it.
but that holds true for the other two that were reimbursed as well.
That was also not this board.
It
Penny
was what?
was. This board was. The one girl, and not the first girl. And
Well, I'm just talking about past practices, I'm not talking about which board necessarily.
I think a little bit of the history ought to be given. I mean, I don't know if people here know what we're talking about or what's even involved, but what we're talking about, Rob, you tell me when I'm wrong here, is an EMT training, which is not under the jurisdiction of our fire department. They don't use it, it doesn't involve them. But back 5-6 years ago, when Life Ambulance was here, we were trying to keep that ambulance. And to get that done, they wanted us to train some people to be able to run it. So we sent people through and started a process to do that. Before that ever took off, they pulled the ambulance out. It's all gone, and that has not been done again since. So the training we're talking about here is training above and beyond what our fire department can even do. It's not involved in our fire department. We paid for nobody since the ambulance been gone. It was paid for in a board prior to us. And the guy that was taking it was told it's not part of our fire department, we're not gonna pay for it prior to him taking it. And I've got that through a lot of different conversations. I had them with Billy, with Deb, with Rob, with Forrest. I've talked about 6 different people about this whole thing. And not any members of the fire department feel we should be paying for this training that does not go under our fire department.
And actually, we could get sued if it is used.
So it's
You know,
not part of this. So a precedent needs to be set sooner or later that we're not gonna do this. So, and I think by the chief telling every bit of training, Rob, if I'm not mistaken, has to be signed off by you.
Right.
They have to go to the chief, get approval for any training they're gonna take. No matter if it's an MFR class, 1, 2 officers, they have to get approval and the chief has to sign for them to go do it. And that didn't happen. So everybody knows that in the fire department. Everybody knows you need the chief approval to go do this. And upon asking for it, was told, no, we're not gonna do that, and this is why. And then we'll just try to do it.
How much is the MFR part?
$550.
How much is the EMT part?
I think it's $1,400 or $1,500 now, plus books. But see, Dave was already a licensed medical first responder. He
Yeah.
already paid for that part.
Yeah,
Now, Justin Swartout was gonna take the EMT basic class instead of the MFR class, and so we'll pay the MFR portion, what it would cost for you to take that class. Because you can still function as a medical first responder with the higher license. He just can't function up to that level.
when you changed the policy on this, did you make a formal written policy on the new changes?
No,
Do we have a written policy on the old
no,
procedure?
no.
When you say that you have to sign off on it, do you actually have a document that you sign? Or is that just they have to come and get your verbal okay?
Well, that's one, but for any of the state classes, state certification classes, I have to actually sign a document for the state, and I have to go online and sign, I have to sign them up online.
And you did this for Dave, and you did it for Justin?
No, I did not do it for Dave. And anybody that goes through Life EMS, any of the classes that they teach, or even Baker College, they usually call us up, or we call them and say, this is who's gonna take the class, and they send the invoice directly to us. You know,
Okay, so if Dave had to have a signature from you to take this class, why did he not have a signature?
he can take the class, but it's, when he signs up for the class, he has to agree that he's gonna pay for it. When we sign people up for the class, we agree we're gonna pay for it.
Okay, I thought you said that when it's a state class.
Yeah, that's, through them, it's not, it's through the state, you know, like for the
Okay.
firefighter 1, firefighter 2, officer classes, all that, I have to sign, they send me an application.
When I went to that class out there, the Police Academy.
Yeah, I gotta sign off on that.
Yeah, well, but that's why I'm asking.
So that way they know the
why-
department's gonna
Why
pay.
they didn't have, he didn't have to sign off on this. I'm just trying to get
Yeah.
The
the
thing
process in mind here.
is, I didn't even know Dave was taking the class until Deb called me up and said, are we paying this bill? He had already turned the invoice into Deb, never even went through me. And it was about a week later at the next meeting, he came up and asked me about it, and I told him, no, we're not paying for it. If you want to take it, you're on your own.
And that was before the class or after the class?
Before the class.
That was before the class.
Probably, I don't know how long, a couple weeks before the class. But I know, he spent a lot of time out in Arizona, and he actually had rejection letters come through the fax machine at the fire station that said, since you don't have your EMT basic, we're not gonna hire you. And that was just before he took the class. So,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
I think he's been talking about moving for a long time, and it
Yeah.
hasn't happened, and it may not happen. I mean, you can't not train somebody just because they may
Right.
not.
I know, but the point is he didn't clear it with me first. He decided to take it on his own after I told him no.